Hey everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm your executive director, and we're going to talk a little bit about bookings. This is a topic that seems to freak people out a lot. It's one that people get hung up on and create blocks for themselves because it does require having conversations with people. Um, I say it every time. I'll never stop till everybody remembers this is network marketing. This is direct sales. This is social selling. This is all about having conversations, communicating with other people, building relationships. So to get bookings, we have to have conversations. To make that a little bit easier, we're going to talk a little bit about how we look at booking and things to say, things not to say, different ways you can approach booking, things you can try. Don't pick just one way, try a lot of different ways. Something that works for you today might not work for you next year. Something that doesn't work for you now might work in 2 months. So keep that in mind, keep flexible, and give yourself opportunity to explore things you might not even think that you can do, you'll be great at. Um, so let's first talk about, for me, I primarily book from other bookings. So I have conversations within current events to book other events. And I use my host to help me do that. And then I also make sure that I'm moving people from my parties into my VIP group and having private conversations with them so that even if they say like not right now or no, that I'll have relationships I build with them over time and I can ask them again in the future when we're in a different sort of relationship, or when they're maybe more open-minded, or when they're more obsessed with the products and their wish list is even longer. So obviously when you're having a party, you are focusing on sales in part because that's how your host will get rewards and that's her goal. So you're obviously going to be focusing a lot on her goal because we are serving our customer. But at the same time, other things are really important in a party: engagement and interaction, having fun. But remember that everything happens in a party or an event, depending on what phrase you like to use. So you want to include all the things that are crucial to your business in a party. And that includes selling, booking, and joining. So that means you want to grow your customer base in your VIP group. It means you want to book future events and you want to have conversations about the opportunity and sponsoring. Um, and so in order to optimize the event in all the areas of our business, we have to make sure to hit on those points. So we've talked about host coaching, making sure that you're getting people to attend, because if there's no one there, there's no one you can talk to about booking or joining. And you want to make sure that you're getting engagement from your host so that people will be interested in interacting and buying and booking and joining your VIP and eventually maybe joining your team. And so obviously then the second part for booking is you want to book more events. So in order to create actual exponential growth in your business, you need to have more events. So you can have a party and you can have $500 in PV from that party, and you got those sales and that's all you do. You focus on the sales only, and that party ends and you got $500 in PV and your host got rewards, but that's it. What you want to be doing with your events is also considering the future, considering that you can get $500 in PV in that event, and also 2 bookings, which themselves might lead to 200 PV and 400 PV. And maybe also from that party, you get one person who wants to join your team. And even if you have a party that has 200 PV, you could still meet someone who goes into your VIP group that eventually becomes one of your best customers or a team member. When you're looking at all 3 points, sell, book, and join, that's how you get exponential growth, because every party could lead to the next party that could blow your business up. Every party could lead to the next team member who promotes and helps your team promote. So you can look at other trainings about host coaching, but today we're just going to talk specifically about booking and how I do that indirectly and directly. Indirect booking tips, we'll start there. Watch your audience for potential hosts. When you have people there, they're already learning about Lemongrass, they're playing games, they're asking questions. Take note of the people who are engaging. Take note of the people who are either super engaged because they're interested in Lemongrass, or super engaged because they want to win prizes. That means they're motivated by getting free stuff, which might translate to being motivated to be able to run their own events and earn commissions as well as their own host rewards by being a consultant, or at least they're motivated by getting free stuff and they want to have their own event so they can get more free stuff that way. If they're willing to participate, that also means they make a great host. And then you want to make sure you're posting. Another way to indirectly talk about booking is to make sure that you post your available dates. You talk about your available dates, whether it's a post or a live or a private conversation. Make sure that people see hosting is a thing. Remind them that they too can do this. So they see the host rewards for the month or for the general ones, even if you don't know what the next promotion is, the host rewards remain the same, whether the extras are changing or not. And making sure that you're saying your available dates. So it looks like a limited number. It's a finite number of spots. So there's some incentive to book now versus waiting. People can say specifically what date they want. So you're not getting like wishy-washy answers like one day I will host. And then another way to indirectly lead to booking conversations is to create opportunities to chat privately. So I like to use like a party raffle in my event. So everything they do can earn them raffle entries. And then I give out a prize at the end. So that encourages people to engage. And that also gives me a chance. So like in the very beginning of the event, I have an opportunity where they take a poll to talk about what they know of lemongrass. And then one person will earn $5 product credit toward a $40 or more order. And at the end of the party, I do the same thing for a future order, unless they've not ordered yet in their friend's event. And then I say, an order in this event, $40 or more. And I just buy a gift certificate on my end and save the code for when they're ready to order. And then I give it to them. That way I'm getting a discount on the $5 I'm giving them off, and I'm getting PV on that $5. And then I have the participation prize, which I mentioned. And then I often do one other game, like a guessing game, where they're guessing their host's favorite hand cream scent or face wash or whatever it is. And whoever either gets closest, if it's like how many products does the host have, whoever gets closest or whoever from the people who guess correctly, I do a drawing and that person gets a customized sample pack. So those are 4 different ways people can win something. You don't have to do all of them. You can do some of them, but find a way to have a winner of something, because then I always say, congratulations, you won. I'm going to send you a PM. And then I open up private conversation with them. So that not only helps us start to build a relationship, it boosts the algorithm. The algorithm is essentially on Messenger, is telling, this is all of Facebook, but it works the same in DMs and Instagram as well. It's telling the algorithm that you two have private conversation. You're close enough that you actually converse back and forth. So you'll show up more, your posts will show up more in the future, VIP posts and personal posts on their timeline, because they're like, you just got prioritized more than someone who maybe they don't interact with online. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen in those conversations. You can lead to a more natural way of being like, hey, you're so great. I love how much you're participating and supporting your friend. Would you be interested in having your own quick lemongrass spa with me in July? I have this date and this date open. I keep it really simple. I just say something very simple like that. I don't tell them like, these are all the rewards and it's so great because this and that. Like, I don't want to overwhelm them right away. Let me just tell them there's this opportunity. They already understand, because they're supporting their friend, that they will get free stuff. Like, that's why they're supporting their friend in part, because they know that they're helping them get free stuff. So you don't have to explain all of that. Make it simple, easy. I like to use the word having instead of hosting. I like to use the word event or spa social instead of party, just because some people have negative connotations, but for some people those words are fine and it doesn't matter. Do think about what sounds like you and what sounds simple and natural. That's what you would be appealed to do, and then say it like that. And then when they win a prize, I also give them a sample request form, which I use Google Forms. Some people use Jotform, and we're going to talk to Katrina Custer after this to learn a little bit more about how she uses Jotform to do a more elaborate version of what I currently do. So stay tuned. But essentially at the end of that, it does ask if they'd be interested in hosting. So even if they're filling out the sample form for samples because they won a customized sample pack or because they won a participation prize, it's giving them a chance to passively say, yes, I'm interested in learning more about hosting. I also include the joint opportunity in that. Would you like to learn more about having your own lemongrass spa business and earning a permanent discount or something like that? Let's see. So at the very end of the event, I also passively share information on the rewards by telling everybody what the host has earned. So once it's all closed down, I try to really like celebrate whatever amount it is. If it is a very little amount, it doesn't seem to come across as that great, that's okay. Still say $20 and a free gift from me, or whatever it is that they won or earned. So that people again are remembering and seeing in their face, like, I know she's getting free stuff, but like, she really is getting free stuff. Like, this host, my friend, got free stuff and I want free stuff too. So it's another passive way without directly asking someone that to tell people about the booking opportunity. But then going back to direct tips, like actually having conversations, enlist your host for referrals. So ask your host or incentivize your host to tell you more about who might be great, or to help you get people to host. Some people have I offer a free gift with every 2 bookings. So, and I base that sort of on how well the party goes. I don't give them the prize right away, but I say, when these 2 people who booked have a qualifying event, which for me is at least $200, then I will send you a free gift. And I just make note of that. Make sure if you're doing these things that are future based, you're writing it down for yourself to remember to actually give them the prize, because if you don't want to break trust by promising them something and not delivering. I also offer an incentive to the host that is, I'll give you $5 product credit to spend at your friend's event. That will encourage them to order, maybe order a little bit more to help their friend. And telling people when you're booking, hey, would you be interested in having your own event like Jennifer's? Jennifer is going to get $5 to spend at your event. And also, if she gets 2 booked events from her event, she also gets another prize. And then you'll get 50 entries into the current raffle for the participation prize in the party. So you see, like, they'll get something, you'll get something. Everyone wins if you host an event. And then that usually kind of encourages, it makes it easier to offer the booking opportunity because you're giving them something too. It doesn't feel like, a lot of people might be assuming, oh, like they want me to book because they want to make money, but like making it as much as you can about what they get and what their current host gets is really helpful. And it makes it feel comfortable for both people. I ask directly. So I ask the winner. So thanks for being I already said this, but thanks for being such a supportive guest. Would you be interested? Da, da, da. They almost always say yes to me, but I do go through phases where people will say no. And that's okay. I make sure in that moment to make it less awkward by saying, that's okay, totally understand. And then go on to continue the conversation. Don't let it end there on that note where they said no to you, because I think, when you say no to someone, you feel uncomfortable sometimes. And it's like, you feel guilty. So you want to avoid any further conversation with that person. But if you take it past that, so for example, that's okay, no worries, like, totally understand. I can't wait for you to get X that you ordered. Tell me more about, like, have you ever used a body polish? Or I just saw that you have a really adorable dog in your profile picture. Like, who is this cute baby? Whatever it is, to like take the conversation away from the booking request. I found that by making them more ease in the relationship over time, if you ask them again, they're not going to be annoyed. They might even say yes because you've built more of a relationship. They're less nervous about what it would look like to work with you because they're comfortable with you. I also ask more than just the people who have won the 4 prizes. Those are just 4 really great ways to start conversations. But I also, if there's someone who's like in 2nd or 3rd place they participated a ton, but they didn't win the prize, I might say, hey, I'm sending you a message. I say that in the event so that they get tagged and know to look, because if you're not friends with them, they might not see the messages. And then I say something like, you were super close to winning a participation prize. I would love to send you a couple of samples, or a catalog, or you might not even want to send them anything. You might not have the budget for that. Just say, I would love to help you earn free lemongrass yourself. Would you be interested in getting on my calendar for August to have your own quick online lemongrass spa? So it's a somewhat natural conversation into that. And yes, it may feel uncomfortable. Send the message and go on with your life. If they don't respond, they don't respond. If they respond and they say no, that's okay. Be friendly, use a smiley face, change the conversation to something else. No matter what you do not burn the bridge just because someone says no. Don't take it personally if they say no. There's plenty of things maybe going on in their lives we don't know about. It's not about you. You're just offering them the opportunity to book. You just have to practice this. This is something that it is uncomfortable to be told no. It does feel awkward sometimes, but you know what? Like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal if someone says no to you. It is not personal. There are way more important things to worry about in life. The only way you'll know if you're going to have an opportunity to work more with this person is to ask them. So you have to find a way to have these conversations. So those are the methods I use for booking. I also, outside of events, will occasionally notice like this person. I use Penny as an app to take, to track my orders and remind me to do follow-ups and things like that. So I will look if there's somebody in there who has tons of orders but has never hosted. A lot of times I'm like, I don't even remember how I met them. Like, it was probably at a party, but I don't remember how. Reach out and say, like, I noticed you order a lot. Would you be interested in earning your next lemongrass order for free? Like, I have openings in July, this date and this date. We could have a quick online lemongrass spa. What do you think? Ending your request with a question is very important. It's just psychologically, people are more likely to answer if you end with a question. If you say wishy-washy things like, I was wondering if maybe you wanted to have an online lemongrass spa with me, just think about it and let me know. Like, no. If you're giving them 16 ways to just avoid answering the question, like, you didn't really ask them to respond, and so they're not obliged to respond. Even if they're maybe thinking about it, they're like, I'll respond later. There's just no pressing reason to respond right now. And then they completely forget. And then you look at your messages later and like, oh my God, they never even answered. How embarrassing. They just don't want to talk to me about this. And then you avoid them and they avoid you and you never speak again. Maybe that's extreme, but it does happen. I will also make sure that if someone doesn't respond to me, even though I ended with a question, that like a week later, I check back in and ask one more time. This happens to me a lot, so I'm not going to presume that they're ignoring me on purpose, but I'll be like, oh, I got a message. And then my daughter says something to me and I'm like, oh yeah, let's like handle that. Okay, yeah, I'll get you a snack, blah, blah, blah. And then I completely forgot that I opened this message and walked away. And I get other messages so often it gets buried. I did not ignore that person on purpose. So give that person another chance and say, hey, I saw you saw my message last week. I know things are very crazy. I just wanted to make sure you saw it. Did you have any interest in having that event with me? You're asking again. You're not being pushy. You're doing your job. And you're giving them a chance, because maybe like 50 to 60% of the time from those kinds of messages, I'll get someone like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I saw your message. I meant to reply. And sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's a no, but you would get nothing if you don't ask. So, last point I want to talk to you about before we talk to Katrina, and also Gretchen, who has some other tips about booking within parties, different methods that she uses, is what not to do. There are a few things you don't want to do, but one of them that's very important is making it about you. Either posting or conversing with someone and being like, hey, I really need more hosts for my business so I can hit my goals. If you hear the word I, and when you're asking someone for something to do something for you, you're not running your business correctly. It's off-putting. And you might get some people might want to help you when you do that the first time, but now they've helped you. They're not going to want to keep doing you favors. Like, this is not how things work. If they love the products and you're helping them take care of themselves, you're making it about them getting free stuff. If you are making it about just wanting to spend more time with them and getting to know their community, they're more likely to find the relationship to be a positive one, to feel like engaged and encouraged to continue interacting with you. And they're more likely to want to do the thing when you're not making it a selfish thing about yourself. So when you're, especially online, you have an opportunity to think about what you're saying, write stuff out, evaluate whether the angle is right, whether it has at least one smiley face, something to set the tone, because people can read things all kinds of ways if you don't insert. They can't see your face, so use a little emoji. Don't go wild with them. It's annoying to read that, but like, periodically drop a face in there, whether it's a laughing face or a smiley face. Make sure that the tone is happy and that you're making it about them as much as you can. If you're really like, I'm sending this message to people, I'm asking people to host and no one's saying yes, or people are ignoring me, take that message and bring it to your upline or your nearest director and say, hey, like, this is the message I'm sending. I'm not getting bookings. Do you think it's about the message? And get someone else to look at it and see, would they say yes to you? Or maybe they have feedback about like, oh, if you use this word instead of this word, or maybe add a smiley face, or you're giving people an out, you're being kind of passive with your language. Be open to feedback, ask people for help, figure out what you can do differently. Another thing that will occasionally work but is just really not recommended as like your method for getting bookings is to post a graphic online and say, hey, I'm trying to fill my calendar up for July. Who wants to host an event with me and get free stuff? And then walk away. We've all heard post and pray. You're posting this and you're just hoping someone will comment, someone will see it, and then they'll also comment, and that they'll also find the whole thing appealing and that they'll want to help you out. There's so much happening there that is not actively engaging in your business. Posting, someone might not see it. With very little detail, people don't really see the reason why they would sign up. There's something called the bystander effect. So you're posting it to all 1,000 of your friends. They're like, she needs this, but 1,000 people are going to see this, and so she doesn't need me. So there's no like personal attachment to signing up or not signing up. Also, people do that from all different direct sales businesses, and it's tired. Like when you're friends with a lot of people in direct sales, you see that same thing, asking people for parties with a mass graphic. It's just like ignorable. It's forgettable. It's also irritating. It creates like a direct sales culture that again is about helping them in their business versus serving your customers or serving the host. So those are my main like do not do's, but if you have questions about anything that I've said, comment below. We can talk about it some more. And now we're going to talk a little bit with Katrina about her methods for both directly and indirectly getting bookings. So stay tuned for that. And then right after that, we're going to talk to Gretchen about some ways that she employs booking within parties. So both of these tactics can be used within parties, and both of these can be used in VIP groups or in personal conversations. So you'll see a couple different ways that they do things differently. There's no one right way. I've got some ideas from chatting with them that I'm going to try, and I've been doing direct sales for over 8 years, and I don't have any shortage of bookings, but I do have slow months. We are not invincible. We are directors plus our people you see at the top of the leaderboards are working really hard to keep those bookings coming and still hit months where just nobody seems to want to book. So you have to keep going. Do not give up. Figure out other ways and other things to try. Thank you for watching this video. It means you actually care about figuring out how to do better in your business. Like that's the first and biggest step, is actually learning, spending time on these videos. So stay tuned, ask all the questions you want, and I'm wishing you lots and lots of successful booking. Hey everyone, we are here with Katrina Custer. She's a director with our team, and I've already talked to you a little bit about how I tend to get my bookings through either my VIP group, conversations with customers, or with from existing events. But Katrina has actually talked to me a little bit in the past about how she does it. It's a little bit different, and it's another great way to try if you're having issues. Hey Katrina.
Hey, how are you?
Tell us all about it.
So, I like to use forms because we all get a little terrified of that question and reaching out to people and what to say. So I like to use Jot form. You can use Google Forms as well. But Jot forms you can do if it's a sample request or anything that you're using a form for, an RSVP, add that question onto that form and insert the host rewards and ask people if they are interested in upgrading their sample package to a deluxe host package. And that's whatever you want to send them. And you will find that people will just click yes. And that gives you the opening to message them and find out when they're available to work with your schedule, give them dates that you have open, and then get them on the board. And it takes that first question out of it. Like I have problems sometimes putting words together and reaching out to people, and it just relieves that for me, and it gives me the opening to reach out and ask them the question.
That's really awesome. I like how, um, see, I have used this before and I did not show them the host rewards. So there's a little tip for myself to apply. I'll
Yeah.
try that out. And I like the phrasing you used. The word upgrade is like something people always want. That's a very appealing thing. Um, and the phrase deluxe host package. So
Yeah.
when we're talking, I've already talked a little bit about verbiage and how important it is to select your words carefully. And then once you figure out what works, keep using those words. So this is another great example of that. And it's a really great conversation starter because I think that, like you're saying, it's really hard to sometimes figure out where to begin a conversation about hosting. And it takes that like step partway out of your hands and it puts it in theirs. Um, did you, you're talking a little bit about how you start a conversation if they say yes. What if they say no? What do you do with that?
If they've filled out my form for whatever the form purpose is, sometimes if they say no, I also have no, maybe later. And a lot of people will click that, not right now, but maybe later. And I will reach out to them to discuss like the options of what kinds of parties that we can do. Some parties are just a simple party and a post, and they may jump on board for doing something like that instead of investing in a full party. So
Okay.
you still reach out to them and ask the question, even if it's a no, and you could just say, hey, I have your samples in the mail. If and when you do decide to do a party, I'm here for you. And then you can talk a little bit on what exactly that entails. And you might get a yes out of that when it was originally a no. So
Right.
even them filling out the form, it gives you something to talk to them about. So you can reach out and say, hey, I got yours. You give them a tracking number. So it does give you an opening to talk to them about something. And
Right.
you can mention a party and what that entails. And then the rewards specifically for that month, if it's a free product or something, and you know they like scrubs and it's a free scrub, then you could talk to them about that and they can get their scrub for free. So
Right.
it's an opening for sure.
Do you include when you send those samples, even if they say no, do you include like a piece of paper, anything with the rewards or a QR code or anything for them
Um,
to?
Yeah, I all of mine have a QR code. If I have something printed up for the moment, like my sample squads, I have a little form. It tells them what to do for the rules of the sample squad. If it's just a regular sample pack, then it tells them how, something on reviewing it in my group. Or I always insert those little hostess, the free host things that we get in the boxes from Lemongrass. Um, Yes, those. I send those with everything because we get a bunch of them for free from Lemongrass. I also purchase them. So it's a good item to purchase to throw in, and they're lightweight. You can even fold it. They fit in my 6x10 mailers. So it's perfect.
That is perfect. And if anybody is out there who doesn't order a lot and so they don't get them for free and maybe they are, don't have the funds to order them, ask on the page if anybody has extras because some people aren't really using them, but they are acquiring them through their orders. And a lot of people on the team are willing to help. I think I might even have extras, especially as we're moving toward catalog change. People might have ones to offer that maybe don't have the current catalog on the front, but the information's still the same. So make sure you reach out to team members if you need help with those kinds of resources. Maybe start with your upline and then post on the team page if they can't help. Um, one other thing that came to mind when you were talking was about the phrase parties. So for me, I often use the word event because for a long time people are saying, well, the word party is kind of scary to people. The word host is kind of scary to people. Are you finding that to be true anymore? Are you still using those words and feel like people are cool
I
with it now?
Yeah, I think people are getting cooler with it, but I tend to call them pamper sessions. You could even do like a weekend event or a bash, just something. Sometimes when you say party, it feels like a lot of work. And there isn't a ton of work involved. Now there is some, but so I have gotten kind of away from that. Sometimes I will slip up and I just call them like fun social events, or something like that. So that if you just change your verbiage up a little bit, you might get more people interested as well. So,
Yeah, it's definitely something that people can play with. I think this month I'm calling them lemongrass spa socials. So like you
yeah.
said, it's got that alliteration I like. Um, There was one other thing. Now you keep making me think of things that I want to ask you. You have so many great ideas. Well, you did mention your sample squad. So if anyone's wondering what she's referring to, we do have a training in the team page already from Katrina, right? We do.
I think so. There's a few of them that do. There's a few of us that do it. So
Okay, well, use the search tool. It's your friend, search sample squad. And if you still can't find it, you can comment below this training and we'll help you locate that, because that's another really great idea. And it um, sometimes can lead to a host, because someone gets those samples. You see how great they are at reviewing them, and maybe they review them publicly and get interest. Then you're like, hey, look, you could get stuff for free. So that's another way in. And some people don't like to be asked directly. They'll say no
yeah.
to that, but they'll say yes to something else. So that's why we always say no, no doesn't always mean no. It means not right now. That doesn't mean be pushy and keep harping on someone if they said no, like firm no. But a lot of times people are like, say no the first time you ask, and like 6 months from now the same conversation could occur and they could have a totally different answer. So read the room, but also remember that one no doesn't mean you need to write them off. Put them on a list somewhere, check back in, see what your relationship is like in a few months, do other things to get product on them, and be patient with yourself. Like Katrina is saying, sometimes she has difficulty coming up with words. Sometimes I do all the things I'm telling you all to do, and I don't get as many bookings as I usually do. Some months are different. We are not like invincible superheroes. We have the same troubles you do. I think the only difference between us and maybe someone who is not seeing the same success is just the willingness to keep trying and to, like, get uncomfortable, risk people saying no. And eventually it just takes one really good party to meet a bunch of people who will party, and then that can kind of explode from there. So even one yes is a huge win, and you never know what can come from that. Well, thank you, Katrina. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we go?
No, but I would elaborate. Like I got two of my hosts this month just from my sample squad jot form. They wanted to upgrade, and usually I send about 2 to 3 samples in my packages. And when I upgrade, I give them 5 and a little bit more swag. So when they're sharing it, they're seeing that they can get more, and I'm getting a lot of people interested that way as well. So it's all in how you word it, and then getting people to share in your group, whatever that may be. It always gets people more interested in getting something like that for free.
Yeah, your swag looks nice too. Again, look up Sample Squad, search Katrina's name, look at the pretty pictures. Lots of great ideas. Well, thank you, Katrina. Thank you for taking this time with us.
Yeah.
We will see you again soon, because I have more questions. So you'll probably see Katrina again on another training very soon. Bye, guys. Hey, Gretchen.
Hi, Lauren.
Okay, so we're here today to talk with Gretchen about bookings. We've already talked about sort of the basics of, what to say, what not to say, that it's a really great idea to try to book other events from existing events. And we talked to Katrina a little bit about how she uses jot forms to start conversations that maybe otherwise might not happen. So Gretchen's going to talk to us a little bit about something that I hadn't even thought of, but it's such a natural way to get these conversations going in parties, and that is using games and lives to start conversations about booking. So can you tell us a little bit about how you do that?
Yes. So it is very natural. And so I try not to make it awkward. I go live the first night of my party. And it's kind of a kickoff to the party. I share a little bit of history about Lemongrass and how the week's going to go. And then when I jump on and say hello, I'm like, hi, welcome to my office. I work from home. This is what I do. I decided to go full-time direct sales, la, la, la. And this is why I do it. And I explain for me why I do it and why it works best for my family. And you don't even realize it, but you're planting that seed with people like, oh, maybe I could, this is something. And as the party progresses throughout the week, they see how much fun the party is, how much fun they're having, how much fun they could possibly have, and all of the things. So I just, to speak very briefly in lives, I don't say, oh, join my team. It's very subtle hints of oh, also mention this, that it's double host rewards right now, or your host is getting rewards. And I also can open my own party in my own name and get also get those amazing things. And it's really, really great. And I'll just kind of throw things out. I also, when since I've very recently gotten back from the incentive trip, I've dripped a little bit of that in there. Oh, I just got back. I've been, my lips got sunburned, so I've been using the Healing Elements balm or whatever. Just however it pertains into an area of your life, and just sliding it in there a little bit. And then as it comes to games, I do just the silly kind of, well, not silly, they're fun, but the guessing games throughout the week. Those have nothing to do with it. But my last night, which is tonight, I have 2 parties going on right now. I do Simon Says. And so I cater those questions around what I want them to be doing. Yes, I want to know, see a selfie and your dog or whatever. But also, as the questions progress, they get more entries for being more daring and asking me questions about my business. Yes, I want them to join my VIP group, but I have learned the most important Simon Says question that I ask is, ask me a question about my business. Now, let me preface this by saying I learned the hard way. If you do not do a small intro on yourself and say, I've been with such and such, Lemongrass for so long, I've worked in direct sales for so long, my favorite product is this, it is my full-time job. If you don't write a small bio, the questions will be that. And that is a waste of time, because we don't want those questions. I don't care. No one cares what my favorite product is. No one. But when you get them asking those meat and potato questions, like, I'll get, how much does it start to begin? Can you work this into your regular life? What do you love most about this business? What do you like least about this business? And all of even the least question, it's not a negative question. It's still able, I like, sometimes like, wow, what do I like least about this? And I just, in that, I'm able to have conversations. Yes, I have it in the chat or in the thread, but also can remove it and have the conversation separately, because I've already created this Oh gosh, sorry, I had a phone call. I'm also, since I've been developing a relationship with the individual guests through the week, I'm able to separate that outside and continue the conversation with them. So it's just that's just a really quick explanation outline of what I do.
Okay. So when it comes to getting other parties from these events, what kinds of, I don't want to say incentives, but like, how do you get them to ask questions about partying, or how do you start conversations about partying? Or are there ways you play games that get them to think about how easy it would be to be their own host or be a host for their own friends?
So yeah, also in the Simon Says, one of my questions is about hosting, and I offer them numerous entries to, additional entries to be a host. I also offer a very small host prize, when, and that can be a game, a very small host prize, but their party, the booked party has to qualify. They don't get the prize right away. And also, I talk, when I'm speaking with the host, I give in her host packet, she gets a game, or he, whomever, the person gets a game, and it's a tic-tac-toe board. It's not really tic-tac-toe, but it looks like a tic-tac-toe board. And when they black out that board, they get a prize from me. I do not mail anything back to them, because it's just more things that I have to do and money I have to spend. But they get a certain prize. And in that, one of the little boxes is, have someone in your party host. And that, if you get and I love when getting a host that's like really competitive, they will be like, messaging and tagging everyone in those posts, because they want the prize that I'm giving them. And that really gets me. I mean, the 2 parties I have going on right now, both of my hosts are competitive, and it's really gotten me a lot of future bookings where I am full in July, full in August, and I'm like, okay, y'all better hurry up if you want September. So yeah, it's kind of a accumulation of all of those things together. It's not one thing that gets us hosts. It's a package of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I get.
And hearing them, it's just like with products, we want them to do reviews of their favorite products so that people hear what they think, because they care more about what their host thinks than what we say. It works the same for hosting. Like, if they say they're having a good time, if they show they're having a good time, that's a better testimonial for hosting than anything that we can say or anything that we can offer. So that's definitely a really really key point. I
Yeah.
mentioned that before, but
Once I changed my mindset around parties, I used to believe that the party was the goal and the end all. And now, I mean, and it's been a few years since I changed it, but I remember when I didn't feel this way. Now that I believe that the goal of the party is the future, it is the present. I do want the PV. I do want everyone to have a good time. I do want, but also my main goal is to get future parties and recruits
yeah,
and new VIPs.
yeah,
And
that's what
so
I
once I change that mindset, yeah,
exactly. That's what I talked about a little bit in the initial training is that whole the you can have a party that's $500 and that's that, or you can have a party that's $300 or even $500. But also you look at off of that, you could have three other parties, which also lead to PV, and you could have, you know, somebody join your team, which leads to growth in your team and promotions. Like obviously, if you pick one or the other, the
yeah,
one is more appealing, even if PV is lower and you get more future potential. That's
right,
really super valuable, and
right,
that's how people sustain a business.
yeah.
Well,
The first order is great. I always say the first order that you get is great, but are you getting the second and third and fourth from that same person?
mhm,
You know, I love that I have a new customer, but I want them to keep shopping, and it's kind of the same rule or thought process there.
awesome. Yes, perfect. Well, thank you for
Yes.
joining us from your car while you wait for your daughter at dance.
Yeah, yeah, can work anywhere.
You're the perfect example of how you make your business work, even when you're running around all crazy this summer. There's still a way to work it out. So I appreciate you taking the time.
That's right.
um,
You're
all right.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
If anybody has any questions for Gretchen, put them in the comments below, and I know that she'll answer them. Make sure you tag her. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
There you have it. Thank you for coming and learning a little bit more about booking events in your business. Hopefully you've got some new ideas you can apply. Thank you again to Katrina and Gretchen for taking time to share with us their ideas. If you have any questions for any of us, just drop them below and we will answer those for you. I hope that everybody has successful booking, and I'll talk to you soon.